Guys, welcome to a special new masterclass that we are doing here on the channel with my wife, AnnMarie. Man, you look so beautiful.
Thank you. So nice.
Welcome to the channel.
Hi, this is so exciting. I'm really passionate about what we're going to talk about today, so
yeah.
I think it's going to be really valuable stuff.
You do look so beautiful.
Thank you.
You're just gorgeous.
Thank you.
I'm going to be so distracted trying to talk to you because of how beautiful you are.
Oh my goodness.
But guys, this is really important. AnnMarie and I have been talking about doing this for some time now. We feel very passionate that this will be really helpful for people that are participating in real estate, trying to get a real estate business going. And we're gonna do a whole series and we're gonna continually add videos. We're gonna make a playlist here, so check the playlist often. This is video number 1. And on this video, we're specifically gonna talk about what is your big why?
Yeah.
Why are you doing this? And we're gonna try to maybe peel back the onion a bit.
Definitely.
And we're gonna be a little vulnerable, and we're gonna try to help people maybe get through some self-deception. That's very common. By the way, guys, AnnMarie does life coaching. She's gone through some major certification and training, and she helps a lot of our fast track students through coaching with their life goals and more around the idea of how do you really create the best version of you. And so she's very good at this and really excited to get your input on this. But let's talk a little bit about that. Why is it so important, first of all, to have a why and be clear about your why?
Yeah, so I definitely think your why is what affects what your decisions that you make. And so as much as everybody gets really excited about like having a passion about things, I think it's also really important for us to see where it is in our why that we're looking for validation, where our actual insecurities are. And that helps us to know kind of the unhealthy part of our motivation. When we can see the unhealthy part of our motivation, it helps us to kind of not be directed by that, to focus a little bit more on the parts of us that are doing things for experience sake, that are doing things for goodness sake, versus or from approval. When we go towards that motivation, we act desperate, we do immature things, we do dishonest things. But when we really understand our pure motives, it helps us to be more calm. It keeps our frontal cortex engaged. I'm also trauma-informed certified. And so understanding about the narrative that our individual nervous systems play in the way that we interpret our motivation is a huge part of the decisions that we make. It helps us also to be able to recognize where something is coming from, whether it's coming from our anxiety or if it's coming actually from the best in us that's trying to grow. So this is a process you and I have gone through.
Quite a bit, yeah.
Yeah, quite a bit.
And I think one of the things that's probably most difficult for humans, for people, is to see past self-deception, right? You want to see things in a certain way. It's easy to notice things in other people, but it's often hard in ourselves.
Totally.
You had mentioned that the word validation, oftentimes we do things for validation. What does that mean? What do you mean by that?
So I feel like our brains are hardwired for the perfect recipe for growth. You've got the back of your brain, that's kind of your reptilian brain, or some people will call it the monkey brain. And it is what is more in like really layman's terms, like associated with our reflexes. And it kind of has 3 different objectives: to avoid anything uncomfortable, to have pleasure, and to survive. And that's really the only motivation that part of our brain has. And then we have our prefrontal cortex, and its motivation is to grow, to make meanings of things, to discern whether we think something is good or not good. It's where our morality comes from. And so when we are doing things for validation, that's coming more from the back of our brain that is trying to establish more of a I'm good enough, so I'll be included into the tribe, I will be able to survive, and I'm already good enough, so that means I don't have to do anything uncomfortable. And so our nervous system wants to feed us that story, but it might not be the story that we want to go after and actually, like, we want to accept it, but we don't want to make decisions based on that. And being able to see through the self-deception, having another coach like myself be able to help you see what part of this is coming from the anxiety in you, just the human, fear-based, nervous system-based, reflexive place, and what part of this is actually coming from an intentional choice moving forward, prefrontal cortex.
Yeah.
And so there's some different patterns. There's kind of 4 main different really typical motivations that we see in people. And so I specialize in really helping people to be able to see what that one main narrative is that you feed throughout your life.
And the idea behind these 4 different, you call them motivations, is when you're really clear about your primary motivation, one of the 4,
right,
then it really helps you see what drives you to make the decisions you do,
right,
what's important to you, what aligns with you. And oftentimes when we're not clear about what that is, we create a lot of shame.
Totally.
We make choices that are not real clean, maybe for, like you said, validation or based on fear or anxiety. And I see a lot of people, not so much on the YouTube channel, but definitely we see it in our Fast Track program where you and I actually spend time with people.
Our live events.
Our live events. And you see people come in and you're really good at right away noticing, there's some things going on here that are dictating the way you're showing up in life and in your real estate business. So maybe talk to us a little bit about that. Can you break down those 4 motivations, maybe high level?
Really high level is just based on your family of origin, based a little bit of genetics,
environment,
the story that your nervous system comes up with. There's 4 different main stories of I'm safe or I'm validated, I have worth. When one is having fun or an experience. 2 is when other people are happy and I'm connected with other people.
Relationships.
Yep, relationships. 3 is I feel safe when I am a high achiever, when I'm winning, when I'm getting things done. And the 4th motivation is I feel safe, I feel good, I feel validated when I'm doing things the right way. And so,
or doing the right thing.
Or doing the right thing, yeah. And so it's a beautiful thing because your motivation is a part of you and you can...
And by the way, none of those are wrong.
None of those are wrong.
There's not a right way or wrong way, really.
It's really interesting because any project or other high-level successful people that we interact with, you can see in any one of their projects how they get a group of people together, or you see a lot of times in couples and in families, you have all 4 types that are represented in pretty much any project.
Well, it's how the world turns,
It's how the world turns. You can see these different kinds of motivations even in countries and in nature.
Families.
Like family. So this energy is present everywhere, and it's what creates balance in order to be able to move things forward for experience sake, for growth sake. And so...
But why is it so important that you understand your internal compass with this energy or these motivations?
Yeah, because it either can really bless you when you accept what your motivation is and when you see through your nervous system just wanting to reinforce your own story. So if you're reinforcing that the only right way of being is to make everything fun, it actually puts you at a disadvantage that you're not able to see the goodness in the other types.
Or pressure yourself in those other areas that maybe you're underdeveloped in.
Right. And so it makes it that you can be very judgmental of others, where you're either thinking that they aren't good enough or that you yourself aren't good enough. And so it becomes more like we see in the animal world, this hierarchy that happens with chickens or with monkeys or
goats.
Yes, or goats. And you see this hierarchy. And as humans, because we have a frontal cortex, we don't need to make things a hierarchy. We do because it's part of our animal nature, but a more evolved, a more mature human recognizes that that is what's happening and can redirect and still accept where the nervous system is at and be able to see the goodness in all of the different ways. When you can see the goodness in all of the different ways, it truly allows you to value that other energy in the projects that you're working on, in the relationships that you're working on. And it also helps you to be able to see the worst in that motivation. Every motivation has
Good and bad.
Good and bad, okay? And
Clean
so,
and not clean.
right, and when it's mostly using that motivation to reiterate your own ego and your own story, it gets addictive, it gets really closed-minded, it gets very judgy. You start putting people one
Bad
up
habits
or one down. Yeah, you
created.
develop addictions when you can't accept what your true motivation is. But when you have peace and you understand your motivation and what your body's presenting to you, what your nervous system or your family of origin that's presented to you, when you can clean that up and see the goodness in it, you can use it for goodness and direct it in a way that is about experience, about growing, not about I have this way of being and that makes me better than other people. It's just these are the gifts that I have that I want to share with the world, and those are different gifts that other people have, and that's their purpose to share them with the world. That's something that you and I have like butted heads with at first, with each thinking at the beginning of our marriage that our way of being was the right way. That's when you try as a couple to do everything equally instead of really realizing these are your gifts. This is like what you're going to excel to really run with, and this is what you're really good at, and then not having the tug of war of which way is better, but really realizing that there is a different, it calms all that shame down, really helps you to see things clearly and what kind of other motivations that you need in that project.
I mean, in our marriage, in our family, together as a couple, in our business.
In our business, for sure.
When we've kind of aligned those gifts, because yours are much different than mine.
Yeah.
We've had tremendous growth and success. And so let's bring this full circle, because people watching right now are probably watching this, or they're here on the channel. The reason why they're here is because they want to start and grow a real estate business.
Right. What does this have to do with real estate?
A lot of times people are feeling like not satisfied with a 9-to-5 kind of thing. They want something better. They want financial freedom. But oftentimes they're not very clean about the reasons why.
Yeah.
Maybe this would be helpful if you could talk about these different whys, or these 4 different motivations, and why would someone want to make the sacrifice in time and finance and all of it to do real estate, given those 4 different motivations? What are some ideas around that? So like, for example, a fun or a fun-driven person, why would they want to start a real estate business? What would be some ideas around that, and all the other types? Yeah,
so I mean, maybe some of these ideas would kind of help you understand and see some of the patterns in your own motivation, so that you could start recognizing that and accept it and direct it in a good way. For sure, when you have the motivation of fun, being able to earn extra income gives you the opportunity of having variety in your life, having lots of experiences. So recognizing again, and coming from a place of it is for my best good and it is for my greatest impact in the world to be able to have lots of different experiences. That is who I am.
So traveling, working your own hours,
freedom, living in multiple places.
Like we do,
Jerry definitely has a lot of the motivation for fun. I think it might be his most dominant motivation in lots of ways. So when you keep it about that there is a good place for fun in this world, then it's about that, not I'm better than somebody else because I've had more travel, because I've had more experiences, because I have variety, or even material things. Material things can be used for good, they can be used for bad. It really isn't about the thing. It's more the intention, the why, the motivation with how you use that. So that's for somebody who's motivated for fun.
I'll real quick, I'll never forget years ago when you came to me and said, you know, I'm really feeling like we should homeschool our kids. And I was like, I don't know about that. And then you said to me, you know, we'll be able to travel a lot more.
Yes.
And I was like, okay, let's go.
Yeah.
I'm all for this homeschool idea.
Yeah, I think I understood. Well, and, you know, full disclosure, back then I was like, oh, that's not the right reason, because my motivation is to do things the right way.
Yeah.
And so it really felt like this is the most correct.
I can do it better than the school systems.
Yes,
right?
I was definitely putting a hierarchy around how my way of knowing everything, or knowing the right way, was the best way.
I can do it better. I can do it right. That's the type 4, the do it right motivation.
Yes, that's the do it right motivation. So it was it wasn't healthy because it was coming from a place of judgment instead of owning that this is just something that I get energy from, that I feel passion and I feel put into the world.
That's how you know what type you are.
Yeah.
What motivation you are, because it should energize you. It should
Right.
wake you up. It's not something that you have to be compelled to do. You're drawn towards it.
Totally. Yeah.
It's the way that you live your life. It's your way of seeing the world.
Right. And it's hard. There is a lot of self-deception because we get these ideas from our parents or from the world that certain ways of being you shouldn't be. And so
parents, the church,
the school
teachers,
the country, politics gives us lots
telling you what you should do
right.
when maybe you're not being real clear about that and
right.
accepting yourself around that.
Yeah.
Or shaming yourself around that.
Totally. So you really want to get clear in your head when you're thinking about what kinds of things give you energy.
So a fun
That's not about that.
So a type fun or experienced person is going to be drawn to a real estate business for the freedom, the travel, the all those things. What about a
that's okay
What about a relationship person?
Yeah, well, they're just that's the thing with real estate. You can use it for anything in whatever kind of experience that you are trying to create in your own life. And there are a lot of different versions of that. So somebody who's a type 2 and really values connection and family time, this is going to give you the versatility to work the kind of hours that you want to work.
Helping distressed sellers. Like that's a big deal. Helping somebody in foreclosure, get rid of that house they don't want.
Yeah, win-win situation.
Your team, your employees.
Yes.
Those people all really matter. So I see a type 2, they really like that they're giving work to people, they're contractors, they're making a difference in someone's life. That's going to be very important to a type 2 or a relationship-driven person. 3 is winning. That one's really easy.
Yeah. 3
I have a lot of that.
Yep. 3, your motivation is to be the best. And there is some real goodness. I think a lot of times we shame competitive people. It isn't good. It isn't satiating. It doesn't feel fulfilling because you never can win when you're comparing with other people.
Or at the expense of someone.
Or at the expense, for sure. So that's not using that motivation for goodness. But wanting to be the best version of yourself that you've ever been can be a motivation and a drive that is definitely for goodness, brings other people up along with you, sharing, teaching, just having this ambition towards excellence and striving the very best.
I was not clean about this for many years. I looked at like the bank account was the benchmark of my success
or
as
your
a competitive.
worth. Yeah, you were trying to get your worth. That is a big, big part that people don't understand. I think a lot of times in this conversation that we have even about capitalism is that we are all created equal. That's something that, was established in the Constitution, something really, really foundational to we all have the same worth, but the pursuit of happiness, the freedom for the pursuit of happiness is what we're all going for. And that's going to look different for you than it is for me.
Your life experience is not equal.
And that is because of your motivation that you want to have.
So quickly tell us the 4th with real estate. So we talked about a fun, experienced person, why they would want to get into real estate, a relationship person, a competitive, want to win person, and then there's the do things for the right reason. Why might that person think that starting their own business or doing a real estate business would be the right thing to do?
Yeah, because they can just believe and make it be the right thing to do. Somebody who wants to tackle and systematize the project of acquiring properties and create some beautiful spreadsheets and be able to use their perceptions of patterns to put it into a place where it can be really efficient, where they can take projects through a process and be able to see fruition and see progression.
They're good integrators.
Integrators, totally.
Yeah, that type of person's really good at integrating processes, systems, and that person's critical to any business.
Yeah.
If it's not you, you need that person in your company. And so, because I'm not that, and so that's been really amazing in my business. in our family, you're a very good integrator. So that's understanding that type of person and their motivation.
It's an okay thing to want different, but when you make your want better than somebody else's, or that because you have more of a drive towards earning more money or having more freedom, that makes you better than somebody else who really might be using working for somebody else for goodness, or using having a lesser income because they want and they feel driven to focus on other things, that is okay. There's not just one right way. And when you can have some peace about other people's right way, it actually really gives you peace to have your own right way. And people don't realize that. They try to reinforce their own way so much, but when they do that, then subconsciously they know, I'm not giving any room for anybody else. Why would I be able to have room for me? Like, I have to be this very exact way. Then you can't be a human. You can't make mistakes. You can't just do the wrong thing.
Yesterday you came in for a second, but I was on a Zoom with my fast track students, a live Zoom, and Brian on there was talking about how his parents are not supportive, a young guy, not supportive of him doing real estate. And he was hurt by this, and he was asking, what do I do that I don't have support from my parents? They think this is a bad choice for me. But when you're really clean about everybody having their own journey, everybody having their own right way of doing something, it stops mattering so much, because it's okay. Yeah. It's okay that maybe your mom or dad don't think it's a good idea.
Right.
If you're clean about what you're doing, or a spouse, then it allows you to accept people where they're at, understand that they're on a different path, they have different motivations in their life. You don't have any control over it anyway. Yeah. And so it allows you to accept people in their own path, in their own journey, and in their own way of seeing the world.
Definitely. And we're going to talk about that more
in the series.
Yes, in this series, the concepts of differentiation, where you can really hold on to your own self and your own motivation in the face of other people coming at you and not agreeing, and being able to not just hold your own and kind of be stubborn and say, no, this is the only right way, but also to be teachable and humble and be able to be secure enough to go inward and say, does my parents, does my spouse, does my neighbor have some valid points about some of the things that they can see about me that I actually can't see about myself, that is part of my self-deception, that would be good for me to be able to go inward and look and see what some of those are. And those are really the specific tools that people don't realize. We want the logistics of real estate and how it works, but the clarity that comes with just not needing other people's approval, the clarity of being able to see the next steps and your next ways of being, and you find whatever it is that you believe. And so if you can get really clear on that, if you can see what your motivation is, you will be astounded at the kind of success that you can have, because all of a sudden you're not being pulled in this direction and that direction, and my parents say this, and this real estate guru says this, and that real estate guru says something else.
I'm offended that the agent rejected my offer, or the seller.
Right. You're just so strong in your motivation, and you know that what you're doing is really, truly for goodness. It really, really is the right thing for you, and you understand it might not be the right thing for everybody else, but that confidence is really what allows you to just absolutely go for it. Yeah, we're gonna be able to give you some of the clues, because some of those layers of self-deception are so thick because of trauma that you've had around. And I'm not talking necessarily, sometimes like uppercase traumas definitely keep you from being able to see those. Yeah, or just a really big, like abusive kind of traumatizing. But we've all gone through lowercase t, where we are inadvertently shamed by a friend or a parent at a young age about something that is true to our inherent nature. And so learning to, as children, we just process things with mirror neurons, where we just reflect what it is that other adults think about us. But then once our frontal cortex comes online, we have the capacity to differentiate and say, just because that adult thought that way, that does not anymore mean that I also need to think that way. And so we're going to give you lots of clues to be able to dig around into some of that self-deception and be able to see how you really feel and whether you are okay with that.
So guys, leave a comment. I'd love to hear, what of the 4 types are you? Are you a First one is a fun experience driven person.
One is
right?
for fun. Yep.
One is for fun and having experiences in life.
Yeah.
2 is about relationships.
Yep. Connection. Empathy, just about the people in your life.
Awareness of
really
people
give
around you.
Yes.
A 3 is competitive, wants to win.
Yes.
Like they're driven to be the best.
Yes.
To
Excellence.
win. Yeah, excellence.
Yeah.
And then the 4th one is do the right thing.
Yes. Yeah.
Or do it the right way.
Yeah.
You're very driven about doing things the right way or for the right reason. Leave a comment, let us know which of those 4 you think you are. I'd love to get your feedback on that. Also leave a comment and let us know what topics you would like to see and you would like us to cover. Conversations that we can have, topics we can cover around this idea
situations.
Totally. around motivation and your why and why you're doing what you're doing and all of that. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. You can steal a kiss, huh?
Yeah. All right. Thank you guys. We'll see you on the next video.
Fun.
Got some more of those?